I'm pleased to say I'm joined by Paul Booth, the MC. Nice to have a catch up with you again, Paul. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good, Alex. Thank you very much. And it's always nice to catch up with you as well, mate. It's been a good few months since I've seen you last. Up in Scotland at Aberdeen, the Premier League, I do believe, when it was starting the season for 2020.
Absolutely. Who'd have thought we'd be 6 months later, and not a lot's really gone on in terms of the darts until the last few weeks. Things starting to pick up again. But what's it been like for you as a MC? We know you're a very busy man over the weekend, not just with darts but other sports and other things as well. What's the lockdown been like for you?
Yeah, the lockdown has been used very positively, to be quite honest, Alex. Since March time, obviously my diary went from being a very busy diary to a very quiet diary in the space of about 48 hours. So I used it positively, stayed home, used the lockdown for home renovations, and it's been good. I've actually enjoyed having some good time off, to be honest. So I've used it well, but I am itching to get back to work. I am missing my microphone, and I'm missing the buzz of the life that a sports MC brings. Yeah, I'm missing my friends up and down the country as well, to be honest.
You've not got much longer to wait until you'll be back behind that microphone. We'll come back to that in a few moments. But what about the things that you have unfortunately missed out on? As we know, there's been a lot of events that have been cancelled. What are the ones that really stand out for you, the ones that you're really looking forward to doing?
Yeah, well, it all started in the Premier League in Liverpool when Rob Cross's sponsor said to us, this looks like it's going to be the last event, what we're going to do for 2020. So it first hit home to me when somebody who's in the know as much as he was literally said to us that that's going to be it. So, and it turned out that Liverpool's Premier League was the last one as well. But then after that, I got a call from the people who I work alongside in boxing, saying that a couple of big boxing shows were off, and the Great Manchester Run was cancelled. So then this sort of magnitude really set in about, look, we are going to be out of work for a few months here. And when it first kicked in, I was hoping that we were going to be sort of July and we'd be getting back to some sort of normality. But that date's now passed. We're sat here in August, and I literally am thinking to myself, for a normality, we're probably writing off the rest of 2020. But I am pleased to say that we've got an outdoor event put in for Scotland, which is happening on Thursday the 20th of August at Dalkeith. And then there's a further event scheduled for Thursday the 3rd of September, which is in Glasgow. And if those two events both go successfully, the same company are looking at holding a further 2 outdoor driving darts events at Newcastle and also at Manchester as well. And it's a company called the Parking Lot Social, and they've had a series of successful events in America, and they've had a series of similar sort of driving events in Scotland which have been successful. So the guys wanted to try darts, so it all starts Thursday the 20th.
Let's get on to those events then. Thursday the 20th of August, and then a couple of weeks later, both the events taking place in Scotland. It's going to be Scotland against England. You've got the England team of Martin Adams, Adrian Lewis and Glenn Durrant going up against Ross Montgomery, Alan Suter and Gary Stone. So it's going to be some top quality arrows for people that are going to these events. But when you first got the call, someone said to you, would you fancy doing these events? What was your initial reaction to it?
Well, my initial reaction was I was really excited to get a call about work, to be quite honest. So, the guy laid his pitch on the table. It sounded really exciting. So he gave me a couple of links to check out previous work, what they've done, which were really, really professionally put together. The guys are in there, we both speak with what they're doing. So I was really pleased to get the call. The gentleman spoke to me about various darts players, the prices, what they do, where they're based in the UK, how easy and logistically it'd be good to put the event together. And, he decided to run with Adrian Lewis as he builds as his headliner. But obviously Adrian's a cracking mod to work alongside, a 2-times world champion. He wanted Duzzer, who's the ultimate gentleman from the world of darts, and Martin Adams, the legend. So then were the 3 English guys that he chose, and then we decided amongst ourselves in chats afterwards that the Scottish people he wanted to involve was Ross Montgomery, who of course he's currently number 1 in the WDF, and then he added Alan Suter, the current Scotland captain, and also Gary Stone as well. So, really. Really good lineup, And those 6 people as well are great for the darts fans because they're all decent people when it comes to meeting the darts fans.
And it's going to be the first live audience for a sporting event in Scotland since we've had this virus outbreak. So it's been a long time for them. It's going to be interesting to see how it all goes. And I believe there's a chance for fans that are going to this event, if they get the certain package, you can have a world champion wash their car as well. Are you going to be involved in washing the cars as well?
Well, if I was a world champion, I would be quite happy to wash their cars. But seeing as I'm not a world champion, I don't think it'd have the same appeal, to be quite honest. Am I going to get involved? I'll quite happily get involved if they want me to get involved. I don't suppose there's many people who have had the car washed with someone wearing a Vicky bow tie.
Exactly. But what can people expect then coming to these events? What do you think they can expect to see when they turn up to Edinburgh on the 20th or Glasgow a couple of weeks later?
The schedule is there's going to be street food available for everybody to have a bite to eat. Gates are opening at 7 o'clock. There is pre-show entertainment by way of live singers and also DJs as well. Show starts at around about 8:30 p.m. and then it's basically going to be heads-to-heads at the hockey with Scotland against England. There's the race stage. There's going to be 2 40-foot giant screens to catch all the action, and it's going to be good. It's an inflatable stage surrounding as well, so very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing the actual stage once it's sort of completed. I'm looking forward to working on it as well. There's going to be a limited number of cars there. I think they've set various tiers of ticket prices, some VIP packages, some front row car places, followed by some general admission. I think the organisers as well have put together a price per car rather than a price per person. So it can actually turn out to be quite a decent value event. And, once I get on stage and start doing the warm-ups, I don't doubt we'll have horns tooting, lights flashing, and the famous saying, if the cars are rocking, then they don't come a knocking. And looking forward to having some fun in cars, to be honest. Looking forward to it, something different.
Good stuff. And let's touch on some of the events that we've seen go on recently. And the World Matchplay is the one that's gone on most recently, the first one to go on since the lockdown, obviously with no crowd. Did you catch any of it? What did you make of it with darts, a big event with no crowd?
Yeah, I caught quite a lot of it, to be honest. And first thing is the Winter Gardens at the Matchplay is one of the darts players' favourite venues, as they all admit themselves. So from a darts players and equally fans' point of view, it was a real shame to miss the atmosphere of the Winter Gardens. As far as the event taking place at Milton Keynes, I think the PDC and Sky Sports Darts between themselves did an absolute cracking job. I think the setting was brilliant. I am a fan of having the atmosphere played in with the VT as well. I think that's a good call, the way they played that in from a sound cue. But I think they got it right, to be honest. I think they got it right. Shame that there's no crowd in. Everyone's looking forward to getting them back. It's a shame for the young Dimitri that he was to win the event behind closed doors. But as it is with Barry Hearn and his Matchroom Fight Camp, if it can be pulled off in sport, I suppose Matchroom and Barry Hearn are going to pull it off, aren't they? So, all in all, I think they did a great job under the circumstances.
Definitely, and as we touched on at the start, the last time we spoke was back in February, the Premier League, the opening night in Aberdeen, and you're part of one of those big PDC events with the hospitality with sport and music, and we know that the next few Premier League nights they're going to be played behind closed doors as well, but there are a few nights still planned to go ahead at the original venues. Have you heard much from your end in terms of the hospitality side of things? Are they still going to go ahead with that?
Yeah, there's nothing definitive, but they are hoping, keeping the fingers crossed, that there was looking at some trial events in sports, in the cricket and the snooker, where a limited number of fans were going to be present. So we are keeping the fingers crossed that there is going to be some hospitality on, I think it's the final 5 Premier Leagues. Final 4, maybe 5, because you're looking at finals night being, right towards the tail end of the year. So fingers crossed we as a nation might get back to hopefully some normality by then. So we're keeping fingers and toes crossed that, yeah, we are going to return to hospitality for the final sort of 4 or 5. Really hope so, mate.
Fingers crossed for that. And lastly, what about the rest of 2020? We've got our fingers crossed that things are going to be returning to normal sooner rather than later. What have you got really lined up in your calendar for the rest of 2020?
For the rest of 2020, the first big event as far as a profile gig goes is Saturday the 22nd of August, got Channel 5 boxing. It's British light heavyweight title fight. That's in Coventry. It's behind closed doors. The restrictions are absolutely enormous. And that's on Channel 5 on that particular evening. The next scheduled one after that is Saturday the 5th of September again, Channel 5 again. Same restrictions in place. Some of the big two, but for the rest of the year, there's darts exhibitions in the diary, Alex, but as we get nearer each date, it's a case of, are they actually going to go ahead? So, we are pretty much all in Boris's hands at the moment on what lockdowns can be eased and whether we can actually carry the events through. We've got a big tour in Scotland planned for the beginning of December with Gary Anderson. I think it's 11 days back to back. If they actually go ahead, it'll be brilliant to be a part of, because Gary tour in Scotland just ahead of the World Championships will be brilliant. But we are just all in the hands of the powers that be at the minute. I will say, though, that, with reference to darts exhibitions, we've got a website called dartsexhibitions.co.uk, which helps people organise darts exhibitions if they've never done it before. Looking ahead to 2021, now is actually a really good time to think about putting those dates in the diary, because at the moment, the darts players, both the PDC, the video guys, and also the legends, have all got big gaps in the diaries where normally they would be filled. So if anyone is sort of looking to put on a darts exhibition for next year, then, between now and December is a really good time to think about it and get the bookings cemented in the diary.
Excellent. Well, Paul, it's always nice to catch up with you. Really appreciate your time as always, and wish you all the best with your driving exhibitions over the next few weeks in Scotland, and of course the boxing as well, and hopefully we'll see you at a venue very soon.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Alex. If you want to touch base after the driving darts exhibitions, we'll let you know about the experience. We'll try our best to get a lot of pictures to share on our social media as well, so keep your eye on that, mate. And likewise, in return, wish you all the best for the rest of 2020.